killed everyone on the roster. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Woo! That is how you bring attention to yourself. That is how you sell a product. Personality. We talked about that yesterday on the show where the NFL is clamping down on personality and really not allowing it to flourish, and that's why ratings are down. And then you have a guy like Conor McGregor just doing what the heck he wants, and the UFC is absolutely loving it. Let's talk some MMA with our next guest. He's the host of Ringside Report Radio, late nights on Friday nights here on TSN 690, at Dave Simon MMA on Twitter. It's Mr. Dave Simon.
Hey.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
I miss you.
Yeah.
Okay, that was awkward. Dave, that clip right there, we've played it maybe 3 times during the show. I know Amanda's played it in a couple of SportsCenter updates. That might be the clip of the year in terms of anything post-game in any sport, maybe of the decade. I mean, that is how you create interest. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, Conor McGregor is a guy that creates interest. People tune in to watch this guy. He's a huge star in the sport. A lot of people bought the pay-per-view last night. It was a complete sellout at Madison Square Garden. No fight in the history of Madison Square Garden has made more money at the gate, and that's saying something. You know the history of MSG, you know all the big fights that have happened there. That one made the most money ever, and that's the draw of Conor McGregor. The guy is a superstar, and now the UFC is going to have to pay big time to bring him back. Conor says he's taking time off. He's going to have a baby next year, and he wants a piece of the company. He wants to be paid even more if they're going to bring him back.
We broke every record we ever had tonight. I'm waiting for this Fox number to come back in the next couple of days, but we destroyed it tonight. Destroyed every record we ever had. It couldn't have been a more perfect experience. New York City and Madison Square Garden were everything I ever dreamed it would be.
That's UFC President Dana White after the fight last night. Dave, they had expectations, certainly, trying to get into New York State and MSG for many years. Obviously, they met all of them.
Yeah, for sure. Everything turned out, finally, after years of corrupt politicians keeping the UFC out of the state of New York. Finally, they were able to get the sport legalized there. It was the last state in the union to fall for mixed martial arts, and here we go. Last night we had the first big event at Madison Square Garden, and everything went according to plan. The show was incredible, top to bottom. Every fight was just awesome. Nothing underwhelmed last night. They made all the money they needed to make. All the fights were great. It was really perfect for the UFC, a perfect first entry into the state of New York in Madison Square Garden.
Dave, speaking of good fights, Khabib Nurmagomedov, he defeated Michael Johnson by submission. Afterwards, he said that Conor McGregor probably won't give him a title shot because he doesn't want to, assuming because he doesn't want to face a wrestler type guy. What do you think of that? Do you think he's next in line for Conor McGregor?
I think Khabib is next in line for the lightweight championship. You look at what he did last night. You look at the fact that he's undefeated. Khabib is incredible. What he did to Michael Johnson last night should not be discounted. The guy is legitimate, and Michael Johnson is extremely tough, and Khabib made him look like he was nothing. I think Khabib is next in line, but I don't think they're going to give him a title shot. Like I said, Conor is going to be taking some time off now. I think when he does come back, he's going to want a big money fight, and I don't know if Khabib is that fight. I think that Nate Diaz is very likely as Conor's next opponent. I think that Nate is the biggest money fight out there for Conor, and maybe not as challenging as Khabib or maybe Tony Ferguson. So that's what I think is going to go down, is that Khabib is probably going to have to fight Tony Ferguson. Conor will likely fight Nate Diaz at some point in 2017. And then after that, the winner of Khabib Ferguson would take on whoever the lightweight champion is at some point in 2017. But as great as Khabib looked last night, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get the next title shot.
Just wrapping up with Dave Simon of Ringside Report Radio, late nights Friday on TSN 690. Dave Simon MMA on Twitter. Dave, just looking ahead here, what's the latest on GSP? Montrealers are excited to see him at some point.
Yeah, there really is no latest right now. The last we heard on George, he said he was a free agent. The UFC said he wasn't, and that's where we're at right now. Still in a spot where we don't really know what George's contractual status is. He wants to fight somewhere else or in the UFC, and the UFC doesn't seem to be giving him the money that he wants or the freedom that he wants. So they're probably going to have to settle this in court unless they can solve this in negotiations. I know that they're still talking. They're still trying to get this fixed, but it's been over 3 years now that we haven't seen George St. Pierre, and any more time now away from the cage could be extremely detrimental to his career. So they got to get this thing settled. It doesn't look like they're getting it settled, though, anytime soon.
Over the weekend, Ronda Rousey making a little bit of headway, showing up at the UFC 205 weigh-ins. What do you make of that?
Well, she's going to be fighting at UFC 207. She had a face-off with Amanda Nunes, the current bantamweight champion of the world. Ronda was interesting. You know, she went up there. She posed for pictures, but she didn't speak to anybody. Even Amanda Nunes spoke to Joe Rogan on the stage after they did the little face-off there before the weigh-ins at MSG, but Ronda didn't say anything, and there's word that Ronda doesn't want to do any kind of media. I wonder about Ronda's headspace going into this fight. It's weird that she's not talking to anyone. I'm looking forward to seeing her fight again. It's been a while. I root for Ronda because she's done so much in the sport, but I worry about Ronda at the same time because I'm not sure that her head is 100% in the game.
He is Dave Simon, Ringside Report Radio, Friday nights at midnight. Correct, Dave?
Of course. Yeah. Friday nights, midnight. Wrestling Uncensored, last night at midnight. I know you were up tuning in, Matthew.
I caught a little bit, of course, man, of course. And we're running low on time. RingsideReport.net if you want to check out the audio from Dave's program last night or Friday night, and then Wrestling Uncensored from Saturday night's program, WrestlingUncensored.net. Dave, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
For sure, man. Anytime.